No, get the notice, but it went out down.
Good evening and welcome to the Mililani-Waipiʻo Mililani Neighborhood Board number 25. It is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024, 7:30. I am calling this meeting into order. First off, let's all please stand if you are able to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under all, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming to tonight's meeting, this month's meeting. My name is Danielle Bass, serving as chair of this board. We are a 23-member board that is available both in person here in Mililani High School H building and online. This public notice of this meeting agenda was provided 7 days ago in pursuant to the Sunshine Law. Friendly reminder, because this is a hybrid meeting, meaning both it's in person here with the audience in H building as well as an audience online, I respectfully request that everyone raise their hand prior to speaking so that they can be recognized by the chair so that we have an orderly meeting. Also, of course, because this is a public meeting, I do request honorable decorum tonight. And without further ado, I would like to recognize Rachel Cristobal, our neighborhood assistant, to provide roll call and establish quorum for this meeting. Rachel.
Thank you. Okay, when I state your name, please let me know if you're present virtually or in person. Thank you. Rana? Present. Among? Present. Kamadi?
Present.
Present. Dal?
Present.
Present. Flores? Breed? Gustafan? Kana Ehe? I saw her online, so I'll count her in. And
You're saying
then, thank you, I got you. Ka'apana Aki? I saw her online as well, so I'll count her in. Kim? Okay, present. Kupu Ka'a? Sasha Lee? She is virtual.
Present,
I saw her
online.
Thank you. Marilyn Lee?
Here.
Present. Nagamini?
Here.
Present. Ozawa? Present. Park?
Present. Online.
Online. Thank you. Ross? Present. Segura?
Present online.
Thank you. Smart?
Present.
In person. And Swershina?
Present.
Oh, present. Okay. Trotter? Williams?
Present online.
Online. Thank you. And Bass in person.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, let me count this real quick.
Anna's here.
Thank you. With that, we have 21 members present.
Great, thank you,
Thank you.
Rachel. Okay, folks, we do have some real interesting follow-up presentations from Queens, but that being that it's 7:30, I want to do a friendly reminder that let's make a goal for this neighborhood board to adjourn by 10 o'clock. That would be great. Without further ado, I'd like to recognize the monthly reports. First up, Honolulu Fire Department. Welcome.
My name is Fire Captain Sean Ray. I'm at the Station 36, Mililani, and I will be giving you the statistics for the month of September. So fires, we had 1 structure fire, 6 wildland brush fires, 6 activated alarms with no fires, 91 medical, 1 motor vehicle crash collision, and I would now like to convey the fire safety tip of the month. So move over for emergency vehicles. Drive with caution and obey all traffic laws, including the move over law, to help protect our first responders while performing their duties near or on a roadway. This is more than a public courtesy, it's the law. Hawaii revised statutes 291C-27 requires a driver of a vehicle that is approaching an emergency vehicle that is stopped for an emergency, investigation of a possible traffic violation, rendering assistance to a police officer, or other official duties, as indicated by the flashing emergency lights of the stopped emergency vehicle, shall slow down to a reasonable and prudent speed that is safe under the circumstances of an emergency road situation ahead. If necessary, the driver shall come to a complete stop for making a lane change under paragraph 2, and make a lane change into the adjacent lane if necessary, and if it is safe to do so, or if possible, to 2 lanes over, which leaves 1 lane between the driver and the emergency vehicle. And one last note, emergency vehicle means police, fire, EMS, ocean safety, freeway service patrol, tow trucks, and even some state and county vehicles while personnel are working.
Thank you, Captain Ray.
Thank you.
Members, any questions for HFD? Michael?
Yes, I notice you're mentioning all that law. Are they having a problem with people zooming by you guys, or?
Well, normally what tends to happen is we have to, well, in the last number of years, we've came up with procedures where we have to either take an extra lane just to make sure that where we're working is safe, or especially in higher speed areas, we have to angle the truck so that the people approaching know exactly which way we want them to go, and it's just to keep everybody safe. It's us to keep us safe, and also like if it's an accident or what have you, just to keep the public safe also. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the reasoning behind that.
Any further questions for HFD members? Yes, Dennis, go ahead.
Real quick question. Did I hear you right? You said 91 medical emergencies?
Yes, 91 medical emergencies.
Was that mostly the EMT group or just all the fire stations?
Well, roughly with EMS calls, we go to probably about 50% of their calls we assist. And just because there's a number of, there's more fire stations than there are ambulances. So generally we'll usually get there first. So usually at pretty much every station, the majority of our calls are medical calls. So that's why the high number, 91.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Final questions for HFD members of the audience?
Oh, one over here.
Skylar.
For the brush fires, is there like a centralized region or area that's been more active than normal, or is it just their normal areas?
There hasn't been, well, compared to last year, I would say that there's been a little bit less. Yeah. And I think just because, especially last year with the, I would say that the hurricane coming close by and the high winds, it just seems to have been a little bit slower this year. And just in little isolated places, but nothing out of the ordinary.
All right, thank you very much, Captain Ray. Hope it's a quiet night. All right, next up, HPD. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Lieutenant Romel Baisa from the Honolulu Police Department, Wahiawa Police Station. I have Officer Joel Castorena with me. He is one of the regular beat officers here in Mililani for you guys' information. Reporting for the month of September, so far we've had about 2 assaults, 2 burglary cases, 7 car break-ins, 0 robberies, and about 808 calls for service. I want to invite you guys and the members of the public to a Honolulu Police Recruit Information Session. It's in person at the Police Academy. It's on Saturday, October 19, from 8:30 till 11 in the morning. This is for those who are interested in becoming a police officer. At the same time, we also have the Women in Policing Informational Session, same time, same place, for those ladies who are interested in joining the police department. Thank you.
Any questions for HPD members? Yes.
Just one question. Early in the mornings, like 2:30, 3 o'clock, how many officers do you have? I know Mililani, it's a big area. You guys are shorthanded, but I was asked by one of the neighbors to just, inquire about this. And the reason why I'm inquiring is because 2 Saturdays ago, you guys probably know about this, My neighbor's Maserati was stolen out of her garage.
Wow.
And then, they figured that what they did is they have the emergency latch coming down. They stick that rod in, they pull it, and lift the garage, took the car, tools, and she was sleeping. So I've just wondered, how many, and we do understand, my neighbors do understand that, it's a thin crew, that you have,
Right.
but
Right.
approximately.
Yeah, so we have 6 authorized beats for the for Mililani area. On a good day, we would have 4, 5 every so often. 5 is a good, really good day. But we try to fill it as much as we can. Yes, but minimum is 4 for Mililani.
I see that board member Darsha Lee has a question online. Go ahead, Darsha.
Hi, thank you very much for attending the meeting. I had a question. I wanted to verify some information that I was given from an HPD officer. They had informed me that there was a directive coming down directly from the Chief of Police for Honolulu that HPD is not able to have agreements with places to like be able to use the bathroom or sit in the parking lot and write the report. And I first wanted to verify whether or not this was correct information. And then second of all, if it was correct information, to please ask the chief if he could reconsider, just because I really feel like these agreements help to build stronger communities, help us to be collaborative in addressing issues in the neighborhood, and help us to know who the officers in our area are.
Yes, thank you for that question. I haven't heard anything that's coming down as far as a directive or an order that we cannot hang out anywhere in the community. It's kind of opposite of what we do as police officers. I know that in the Mililani area, we do not have a substation. So a lot of the officers, when they have to type reports, they actually park at businesses or hotspots being where crimes might happen a little bit more often. So that's where they, if you want to call it, hang out, but that's where they type their reports. I haven't heard anything about we're not allowed to be at specific places. Does that
Okay,
answer? Sorry.
yes, it didn't sound correct when I was being told that, and I just really wanted to verify that information.
There was a complaint at one point that officers were hanging out at certain places for a long period of time. That's different from when they're typing the report and reading emails and directives. That's a little bit different, but no, as far as an officer just sitting at one place all day, yeah, that's a little bit different from again typing the report in front of somebody's street or house or business.
Okay, members, any other questions for HPD? Members of the audience, any questions for HPD at this time? Yes, sir. Please approach the microphone, state your name for the record so that we can include it in our minutes.
Cool, Quadra. I was just wondering, can you propose a substation for them in the neighborhood?
Yes, I believe we did take action on that in terms of a resolution in 2023 proposing or requesting HPD to perform a study on a substation here in the Mililani area.
What did it say?
We're waiting to hear back
Oh.
on that. So HPD, is there any follow-up to that?
Yeah, so substations are not easy to get, not easy to acquire. There's a lot of rules that we'd have to follow, and the city has to come down. Our professional standards office has to inspect it. It all has to be kosher, basically, for us to be able to use it. Yeah, it's not easy. Plus, we have to find a place that would voluntarily give a space for HPD. Yeah.
So given that and the board passing the reso, requesting such a substation be considered in the Mililani area and a resident bringing that up, could we circle back to that where HPD can take a look and the city can take a look and we can discuss through those organizations and hopefully have some follow-up to that matter of if it's getting worked on between the city and HPD.
Right. That is actually something that's not started by HPD.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not allowed to, but the city, if anything, the private sector, whoever's donating the space would have to go through the city, donate that space, and then HPD will get involved.
Okay, so there's a request for a donation of space.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah. So I mean, we have a lot of officers that have contact with businesses and such. So those officers can have those business start up the process to have the city look at it and HPD look at the space.
All right. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Any further questions for HPD at this time? Yes, Mary.
Thank you for what you do for us. There's been a lot of discussion and emails going back and forth about the illegal luau over in Kunia, which probably isn't your area, but what I want to know is, so the emails have been going to the city council and it's about the mayor but when does HPD get involved? If they're saying there's all this illegal stuff going on there, I don't understand why HPD isn't involved and just shuts it down. Can you help me understand why that isn't an HPD function?
So there are many different jurisdictions in the city. That aspect is with the Department of Planning and Permitting, different from HPD. So what HPD does is we enforce the law, the HRS laws, city ordinances. That particular one has to do with DPP, which is Hawaii, not revised statutes, HAR, right? Administrative rules, different from what we enforce. So what can happen is somebody, a representative from DPP can go there and be our complainant, and then we can issue citations or whatnot for them. But generally, they go through that within their department, their fines and or whatever else, however they resolve it. But it's between the business owner and the DPP, not normally HPD. Again, we're there to keep the peace, to maintain public order if we get called, but for the most part, it's between them, not HPD.
Final questions for HPD members of the audience? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to United States Army Combat Aviation Brigade 25th ID. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Lieutenant Block from 25th Combat Aviation Brigade. Just here these are September's talking points. They're obviously a little bit outdated by now for some of the information, so I'll skip that part. But the first big hitter is the October job fair. So U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii will have its next hiring fair on October 8th at Lelehua High School, beginning at 8:30 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m. This is open to the public. There will be job offers and provisional hiring on the day of the job fair. Advanced applicants may go to himwr.com, click on the employment banner to learn of the openings and how to apply online. Walk-ins are welcome, and if you are going to come, you should bring 2 references, proof of ID, social security card, resume, or application. The opportunities include business operations like golf, bowling, food service, and many more. Child and Youth Services, CYS, will also have openings to consider. And if you're going to work in CYS, there's a variety of benefits available, such as retirement, access to all recreation facilities, discounted childcare, training, and commissary PX privileges. That's for the CYS opportunities. So it says, come on out and see what opportunities await. Training brief on JPMRC, as I went over last month. They're in the RSOI period right now. So basically, they're getting their equipment ready for the training. We're accepting equipment from Alaska, from different units that are coming here to visit from foreign countries. and getting it all ready for the exercises to begin next week. So the initial forecast is for 1,000 multinational participants from Malaysia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Thailand, the UK, Japan, Singapore, Maldives, Australia, and Canada. So that's more than last year. There'll be an increase in military convoy and vehicle traffic beginning 26 September through October 3rd. That's going to be a lot of the time when you're going to have movement between Dillingham, Kahuku, Schofield, and down to the ports as well, and to and from the ports. You're going to see a lot of vehicular traffic. But as always, we'll respect the convoy timelines. I don't know the specifics, but I know there's certain rush hours when we're not driving these vehicles. So do the best to minimize traffic. There'll be an increase in aircraft noise and combat simulations during the training operations from 7 to 16 October. There'll be an increase in helicopter, fixed-wing aircraft, and unmanned aircraft systems, such as drones, specifically around Wheeler Army Airfield and the Dillingham Military Reservation during training operations from 7 to 16 October. As a reminder, 808-787-1528 is the community concerns line, and that's any kind of feedback you have as far as noise complaints if it's bothering you outside of what's expected. Special notice, as part of JPMRC 2501, there'll be an increase in air traffic that will be operating out of Dillingham Airfield. So aircraft taking off and landing, helicopters, large cargo aircrafts, and unmanned aircrafts. That'll be in the general area of North Shore between dates of October 4th through the 9th. And same line for community concerns if you have any. And you can also reach us on email at usag.hawaii.comrel, C-O-M-R-E-L, @army.mil. Pending any questions, that's all I have for the group.
Thank you, Lieutenant Block. Members, are there any questions? Member Ross.
I have two, so I'll go first, and then if there's nothing else at the end, I'll try to go at the end. First question. Thank you so much for responding to my email and connecting me with Charlene.
Yeah.
As of today, the area is completely clean. So if anybody wants to know the area on the right-hand side of Cam Highway, as you're going down from Mililani to Waipiʻo, where they just built that new gate, I emailed Lieutenant Block. I sent him the pictures, and probably within 2 weeks, all the trash has been picked up. All that area is clear. Thank you so much for that. Just waiting to hear your response on if that's still your guys' responsibility, like cleaning up or fixing or whatever it's going to be. And if you guys are still patrolling that area, like what's the time frame would you guys going to be patrolling? So I don't know if you want to reach back out to Charlene. I'm still waiting on the response from that email or whatever it is, but just thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And then I'll wait to get my second question.
Okay, member, but thank you, by the way.
I didn't.
Round of applause.
Personally, I didn't clean it. Somebody did.
That up. Yes, thank you. Shout out to the Army. Mahalo. Are there any other questions for the, yes,
Yeah.
Dennis?
I noticed as we drive by Wheeler Field, the hangars looks like they're just about finished.
Yeah, the new hangar.
Okay, is there a date when they're gonna start moving vehicles or helicopters or whatever that is?
I'll get you that date. They should have that. I don't know it personally, but I can follow up.
And secondly, is that where the headquarters is, the brigade headquarters?
No, the
Building
brigade
next to it?
headquarters is in its original building. To my knowledge, it's never moved, but it's over closer to the dining facility, if you know where that's at.
Okay, so the two buildings that are there are primarily barracks?
Those two are barracks, right?
Yeah,
The new hangar, it's going to be one of the battalion headquarters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Members, any other questions for the Army? Members online? Members of the public? Okay, without further ado, back to Member Ross for your final question.
Okay, so there's going to be an aviation question. So if you're in the aviation brigade, I hope that you keep up. If not, just swing it to the aviation guys and have no question. So we have a lot of Mililani residents that live just north of the H2. So talking about the runway itself, runway 6, going straight out. We typically have a lot of helicopters, new pilots specifically, as well as foreign national pilots come off of runway 6. Instead of turning southbound at a good degree and rising up, what they do is they stay low and they take that turn wide and then they go right over the H2 and it goes right over the apartment buildings we have over there. Now, we've worked with the Army before and there was a FAA regulation put in for that MVRs to be increased in that general area to make sure that they're not low flying over the helicopter or the apartments that we have over there, specifically helicopters, but it's for all aircraft. When they're taking off runway 6 on this next exercise, I ask, can we please get the word out to every Asian brigade? If you guys are going to be doing a lot more flying out of Dillingham, it's fine, but out of the Mililani, especially going runway 6, they got to turn before the H2 and they got to hit their MVRs and get high enough over those apartment buildings. We have a lot of individuals who live there, and you know, there's also Mililani Plaza that's over there, or there's a plaza over there as well. So if you could just relay it to the entire aviation brigade, make sure you're briefing all the people that are coming in. Coming off runway 6, go high, turn south, get away from the apartment buildings, don't low fly over them, because I don't need a lot of complaints from individuals who live over there just because you guys are having an exercise.
Sure. I'll put it to the colonel in the executive summary that I write up tomorrow.
For members of the public, they might benefit to know that there are some aviation professionals on this neighborhood board. So just as a measure of disclosure. Thank you, Lieutenant Block.
Thank you.
Please relay that. We look forward to hearing back from you and seeing you in October.
Appreciate it.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Kathleen from Board of Water Supply. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you. I'm happy to report no main breaks in your community over the last month. We do have an event coming up and I gave everybody a flyer. It's called Imagine a Day Without Water. It's this Saturday at Kapolei Regional Park. And we have over 20 city and state agencies and nonprofits. And the whole theme is water, you know, about water. We have DOFA is going to be there, Seaworm. Obviously, we're there, ENV. I think DFM is going to be there with stormwater. So we hope you can come. The hours are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we will also have food. And it's a great family event. We have a lot of activities. As some of you may remember, we did at the Freshwater Park in Wahiawa last year. So we're just going to be going around the island. So thank you. Any questions?
Members, any questions for Honolulu Board of Water Supply? Trevor.
So just briefly, so I understand that the Board of Water Supply has filed a Federal Tort Claims Act claim against the Navy to replace the halal shop. Are you able to speak briefly on that and provide an update?
Sure. We did file that back in April. The Navy or JAG came back and asked us for some additional information, which we supplied them. And we have not yet heard back, but the last I heard, our legal team was going to be following up with them. So thank you.
Any further questions for Honolulu Board of Water Supply members? Members of the public, any questions for BWS? Seeing none, hearing none. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you. Next up, we have presentations. I'd like to welcome Mr. J.C. McCulloch, as well as Dr. Ron Kuroda, who would like to update us on the progress made with Queens Medical Center Wahiawa. Members, as you recall, just a few months ago, earlier this year, Queens did do a presentation to our board. So thank you for reaching out for this presentation. We look forward to hearing what the updates are.
Thank you. Ronald Kuroda, I'm the Chief Medical Officer for the Queens Medical Center in West Oahu. Working with Wahiawa, and I'm going to lower this for a second. Thank you all for having us back to follow up in the 3 months that we've been open. We opened back on May 30th. It's been very successful, in our opinion. In those 3 months, over 6,200 people have come through the door and have been treated there. By 911 ambulance, which was a big concern for the entire area. It's been 1,300 patients coming in by 911. So doors have been open and we've been able to receive patients basically from North Shore, North Point, Guyana, all the way down. On average, performance-wise, we're trying to see the average amount that a patient, once they hit the front door, to being seen by a emergency medicine physician or physician assistant is 10 minutes. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. And then the concern about having inpatient beds at Wahiawa, we're finding that 88% of the people who come in are able to go home. So the care that they're receiving stabilizes them, prescriptions, treatment, referrals out. Of the ones that aren't able, that other 12% of the patients, we've been able to accommodate them. 600, a little bit over 600 have gone to either our Queens downtown, which we call Manamana, or West Oahu for specialty care. And what we're doing is we're looking at what type of services are available. And if we did have inpatient space at Wahiawa, would we have those specialists actually be able to see those patients at the hospital? There's a statewide shortage for a lot of things, including urology, orthopedic surgery, and then there's the high intensity care at our Manamana campus with cardiology. Those things would not be able to be replicated, and those are the real high need ones that we are seeing that are coming out of Wahiawa. We are sensitive as well that it's a whole community and it's not just Queens. Military that would want to tap into Tripler, and people who are Kaiser members, especially in this community with a lot of state retirees. We do have a good flow to be able to get patients, if they're requesting to go to one of those hospitals, to Kaiser or Tripler. And when we're crunching those numbers, it's actually less than half of 1% of the people who come in need to go to either Kaiser or Tripler, but we are able to accommodate that. So in our site, with the amount of investment that we did, because the reason why we had to close it was the ventilation HVAC system that was outside of the emergency department just to get it up to code. That got, the cooling tower got replaced, 2 HVAC units got replaced, and then the remainder have been repaired. It's been up, it's been running. If you've walked through the hallways now compared to before, we refloored the emergency department and the exterior corridors, new paints, new lights. It's a lot brighter. In that kind of setting, the bright lights are safety measures, especially for kupuna. Visibility causes falls, which we really don't want in an environment when somebody's not feeling well. So these are some of the things that we've intentionally put into the improvements so that it's a more welcoming place as well as a safer place. But it looks like the community is responding. From the time that we opened to about this month, the number of patients on average per day has actually increased by 10 in the 10 patients per day in the 3 months. So we're on this kind of a trajectory. So we'll have to continue to see what happens. It's only been 3 months. And one of the questions that I had for success for Wahiawa was if people from Mililani actually turned and went north in case they needed to go to the emergency department. So I'm just wondering if any of you folks have been there since.
Actually, so I have a story I'd like to share if nobody shares, but I do want to open it up to questions first, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Are you finished with your report? Your presentation?
One last thing is that being new in the community, even though we're Queens, but the Wahiawa Hospital has been there, we are intentionally trying to partner with the existing community medical providers. So Wahiawa Health, who's their federally qualified health center lookalike, we've renewed our memo of agreement with them for their services, as well as assisted them with a letter of support. It looks like they're going to be pursuing some grant funding to expand out to Wailua, to provide that area with needed primary care. So we're trying to make sure that Queens is a part of the community and not just coming in how some people would be afraid of. But I'm open for questions now.
Members, are there any questions for Queens? Marilyn?
Thank you very much for coming tonight. My question was, what kind of diagnostic services have been restored?
There we have x-rays, ultrasound, and we actually purchased a CT scanner, which is currently in right outside of the one of the entryways. And we're working with architects right now to plan to bring that, actually not that one, actually a newer one within the building. So CT, ultrasound and x-ray at this time.
And mammograms are not being done
Not right now.
because you've had an actually excellent machine there at one time. So hopefully that will return. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I see that Board Member Darsha Lee has a question online. Darsha, go ahead.
Hi, thank you for being here tonight. My question was for like information for the community. I did encounter a person who they went to a different hospital that was considerably, or ER that was considerably farther away because they were under the impression that Queens Wahiawa ER was not open. And so when I like Googled it with them, the first thing that pops up is Wahiawa General, and it has hours from 8 to 3. So I was wondering if they were going to kind of update that. I know if you like scroll a little further, you'll get to results that you'll get to results that say, yes, there's an ER and it's open, but I think there was some confusion about whether or not the ER is open and what the hours are as well.
Okay, yeah, it's 24/7, and if that was Google, if you could confirm that for me, and we can reach out to them to make sure that they update that. We've had experience with updating previous names and then places where we've been to.
Members, any other? Thank you, Darsha. Elise.
Yeah, what's happening with the rest of the building, the structure?
We, in the assessment that we've done, there are still leaks in the roofing and things like that. If you've been up there and have seen that there's the workmen up on the roof with the big slides, actually, we're trying to shore up what's existing right now, patch the roof, stop the leaks that are in the areas that we've actually had to close down. We're not allowing anybody in there except for our security while we're doing fire watches to make sure that there's no tenants that are in there, or also we make sure that we patrol the area for fire. But the building structure that is, I believe that's going to be south of the active emergency department, that we've found that we're not going to be able to really salvage.
So, what is it going to be used for?
At this point, the long-term care facility that was there before is probably going to be the first building that we're taking a look at having to probably take down to be able to rebuild something that would meet code. We're going to be investing in that property. It's going to take a little bit, and we're going to have to look at the plans and what the needs are, but we're not going to be leaving those buildings standing.
Michael.
How's it look for the Coal Ridge? Wahiawa General was talking at one time moving the whole hospital there. What's the master plan now?
For that, I wouldn't be able to speak on it. We're not involved with the Coal Ridge project. Wahiawa Hospital Association is still the group that has that.
Okay.
Any other questions from members of the board or members of the public? Right, seeing and hearing none, I'll just close with, since you asked for an experience, I think it was around June, JC, I was contacted by a Mililani resident who was a family member was experiencing an emergency situation, needed to go to an ER rapidly, and they were well aware about the changeover with Wahiawa General Hospital to Queens. So the resident contacted me to see whether the ER was open. There was still some, it was unclear at the time. Thank you, JC. I did call you and you did agree, and I quickly hung up and called that Mililani resident back to say, it's an emergency, and of course, to let them know that yes, your ER was open at the time in June, and that Mililani resident turned left upwards towards Wahiawa to receive medical care. I heard a report from the resident later that, you know, in terms of their family member, that they received excellent care. They thank Queens for that excellent care. They have gone to Wahiawa General in the past and did mention that there were some improvements in terms of the waiting room and the waiting time. So just wanted to give you that credit. So it sounded like a very, you know, albeit it was an emergency, but it was a positive experience in the end where the individual is okay. And the family, you know, of course, is recuperating from that emergency. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that. I'll make sure that I pass that on to my team. The team at Wahiawa is very proud. A lot of them have been there for a long time. And one of the other things is people who have not been working there, who live in the area, have actually transferred and are working there now. So one of the things we're really happy about is that the people that are caring for their neighbors are the ones who live in that community now. So, but I'll make sure that I pass it on to the team because they're very proud of their work and we're really proud of them.
Thank you. And, you know, thank you again for coming and requesting this presentation. I think that that's excellent community partnership. And I think that it's an encouraging sign as neighbors, you know, with Queens and Central Oahu. We welcome you and we look forward to this engaging community partnership and look forward to what's next.
Anytime you want us back, just reach out to, apparently you have JC's numbers.
Yeah, and then not hang up on him 2 seconds later, right? No, thank you, folks.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have community concerns. At this time in our agenda, is there any community member that would like to report of any events or concerns within the community or able to come forward and express these concerns within decorum? Please limit your comments to 3 minutes each per issue for item agenda. Yes, sir. Okay, I thought he was on his way. Okay, I see that Maria Ralohe has her hand up online. Please state your name and share your concern. Thank you.
Aloha, it's not necessarily a concern, but a request that I would like to make for the board. But again, aloha chair and members of the board. My name is Maria Value High, and I am a part of a coalition of organizations for good governance. So again, I would like to request the board to introduce a good governance resolution. I do have a draft of the resolution that I can share to either the chair or any members of the board, but basically, the resolution calls on the Hawaii State Legislature to adopt critical good governance reforms recommended by the Commission to improve standards of conduct in 2022. But basically, it's just amendments to House and Senate rules before the 2025 legislative session and 3 statutory amendments in 2025, as well as requesting for a constitutional amendment on the ballot to give constituents, the people, a say on whether to have term limits for state legislators. But that's basically what I'm asking for, and I'm happy to email the draft of the reso to any member of the board. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Maria. Please, yes, email the draft resolution. We'll take a look. We have about 2 meetings left for this year in October and in November, and multiple requests for presentations. So the agendas are getting full. We'll take a look at that, and I'd love to have communication with you via email. Any other residents? Oh, you have a question? Okay.
Quick question. Is this the same reso that was adopted by the Ala Moana Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board?
Yes, I believe so. Are you? I'm not too sure. I know that it's been introduced in different neighborhood boards, especially Ala Moana and Kaka'ako. So I believe that's the same resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other members who or community members who would like to come forward and express any comment or concern within decorum for 3 minutes for issues of items not on this agenda?
Madam Chair,
Emil,
one more question may I ask?
oh, to Maria, you
Yeah.
have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Point of clarification, you mentioned something about commission was recommending something. What kind of commission did you have in mind?
Oh, yeah. So I'm talking about the Commission to Improve Standards of Conduct. So this was a commission that was convened by, I believe, Speaker Psyche in 2022 after the whole, former Rep. Cullen and former Senator English the case with that. So basically what they convened is to basically adopt good government reforms. And in the draft that I will send to, I believe, Chair Bass, there is a list of the reasonable reforms that we're asking each neighborhood board to introduce and hopefully adopt.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on. Are there any other community members who would like to come forward and express any comment or concern within decorum? And please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Josie, I see your hand is up. Do you have a community concern at this time?
No, I just wanted to know if Maria had a webpage.
Okay, Maria, please drop your webpage chat.
Thank you.
If there is one. Okay, seeing and hearing none that there are enough. Oh, I'm sorry, Catherine, you have it. Microphone.
Okay.
Yep, we can hear
Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Anyway, since the Hawaiian Electric had several turn down the power in certain communities, well, on our street, me and my neighbors experienced 5 times power shutdown. So when I called up other people in Mililani, their power was on. So I was wondering if any other parts of Mililani or the community have experienced the power shutdown.
I believe that information is publicly available on HECO's website, is it not? You can check if there's a power problem or some kind of disconnection in Central Oahu at their website. You might want to contact HECO and report an outage and take a look at that online. On the microphone so that the folks online can hear.
I called up Hawaiian Electric and to report the power outage. So they said, yes, your community is, yeah, but I was wondering how come it's been 5 times they shut down our power.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my concern.
Got it. Okay.
Daniel, I have a comment.
No.
He always is playing online. We're not being able to communicate, so I don't know if that's something that you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on. Are there any other concerns from community members or events that they'd like to share for 3 minutes? Okay. Hearing none. We're going to move on this agenda. Okay, so folks, apologize. This is an old template that I used for the agenda. So I'd like, if with your, if there's no objection, I'd like to actually reorder this to this agenda to put on the reports of chairs and boards committees. I have a pretty extensive report to share for chair's report. Is there any objection that we take that out of order and bring that up at this time?
Do the representatives have to be here for your report, your chair report? Otherwise, I would say let's get them out of here so they can go home.
Well, we've typically always had the board, the committee reports before the.
I understand
This
that.
is an old template, so I'm. Is there an objection at this time to take that out of order?
Is it important that the representatives be here to hear your chair report?
I would think so.
Okay.
Any objections? Sorry, that was a question. Any objections? Okay. There's an extensive report because a lot has happened, so I will share. We're gonna go into item 7, reports of chairs and board committees, members, chairs report, subsection A. Then extend report. First up, Hawaii Country Club Luau. On August 30th, the NCO and the chair, myself, has received a request from board member Leslie Among, formally requesting that the following public safety concern impacts applicable to breach of zoning are revised ordinance of Honolulu, chapter 21, section 21-3.40-1, tables 21.3, tables 21.31, preservation district issues and development standards in sections 21.350 -4, tables 21-3, 21-3.1, agricultural district uses and development standards in addition to HRS 205 4.5 as it pertains to non-conforming end use activity Malka Warriors Luau in the state agricultural district. This request was listed to be listed as a new business item on this agenda as an action item for the board to make a motion. If such is to be determined, the allocation of 5 minutes was requested by the board member for any representative of the Malka Warriors Luau operation to present, followed by board and community comments. In consultation and in accordance with the neighborhood plan and after consultation with the Neighborhood Commission's Office Executive Secretary Lloyd Yonenaka, this request was accommodated by listing it under this agenda as section 6, board business of this agenda item as an action item under subsection B, consideration to include on the October 2024 agenda a presentation related to the Hawaii Country Club's Luau and Kunia. Members, after consultation with the NCO, this issue is a legal matter between a private business, a private property owner, and the city and county of Honolulu as to whether these operations are in violation with the city's land use ordinances and the state land use law, in which the city and county of Honolulu's DPP is the enforcing entity. At the time of the publication of this agenda on September 18th, I did not hear from either Hawaii Country Club or Malka Warriors Luau requesting this presentation. Should the board vote to approve section 6, subsection B, I would recommend that the presenting entity be the city DPP. Or the board could vote against placing this on the October agenda, since the board is neither the regulating authority or an adjudicating authority. It is an advisory board on behalf of this community. Later so this report continues, later on this past Sunday, September 2022, I received a request from Malka Warriors Luau to provide a PowerPoint presentation to give that presentation and quote, filling in the blanks of the issue. Besides that email received from Malka Warriors Luau, I have not spoken with this entity. Furthermore, in the 60+ emails from Eva Beach resident, Mr. Tom Berg, regarding the matter since May 2024, City Managing Director Michael Formby has sent multiple replies clarifying the actions the city and county DPP has taken in terms of enforcing the alleged violations on zoned agricultural land, including most recently 1. On September 20th, in which the city's managing director replied to Mr. Berg that, quote, I have informed you repeatedly that the city is enforcing the various interest in rebutting your silly claims of cover-up, collusion, illegality, impropriety, and now allegations of ethics commissions covering and shielding the city. On September 24th at 11:30 a.m., the city's managing director emailed to an Eva Beach resident, quote, DPP is enforcing in the matter it deems appropriate under the circumstances, and as I'm sure you can imagine, there are many considerations that go into the decision on how to enforce against unpermitted activity on Oahu. Under the law, DPP has the power to do many things, but they get to decide how to proceed. And quote, Mayor and I met with the luau operator and their attorneys once. The purpose of that meeting was to let the luau operator know that the city would be proceeding through cease and desist orders to judicial enforcement. And we are, end quote. And again, on the same day, September 24th, 3:32 p.m., stating that the managing director also stated that, quote, the city is enforcing which for DPP means fines and orders to cease and desist to date. Beyond that, we have chosen to take them to court. The purpose of the informational briefing, I'm going to explain that later, members, which I requested, I being the managing director in this email, was to have a professional discussion regarding the level of enforcement that the public and our city council members think is appropriate for DPP under the circumstances. Some believe the city, unlike the past, needs to move away from the reliance on fines and to more active enforcement. We started down that path by asking the legislature for the right to use non-judicial foreclosure the last 3 years in a row, but the legislature has not seen fit to give the county that power. Non-judicial foreclosure would allow the city to foreclose administratively on fines for which we place a lien against the property. It's quicker and easier than going to court, and it gets results. Enforcement in these cases is never black and white. Yes, it's illegal in that the luau operation is unpermitted and inconsistent with zoning. However, it is there because the operator of the HCC golf course signed a contract with the luau operator penned by Tom Berg in 2023, allowing them to operate, end quote. Finally, this is in the same report for this luau. Finally, the Honolulu City Council's Planning and Economy Committee, chaired by Councilmember Esther Kia-Aina, has scheduled this matter as an informational briefing tomorrow, September 26th at 9 a.m. You may watch it on the internet live stream through https://www.honolulucity.council.org/meetings. I will drop that in the chat. This is listed as the final agenda item of the 37-page committee agenda as, quote, informational briefing 3, status of the city and county of Honolulu's enforcement for violations in the state agricultural zoning district 94-1211, Kunia Road, Waipahu, Hawaii, 96797, tax map key 94004:020 or 020. Testimony is linked online on that hearing notice as M-042924, testimony on the status of the city council, status on the city and county of Honolulu's enforcement for violations in the state agricultural zoning district for September 26, 2024 at 9 a.m. planning in the economy P&E meeting. As mentioned, I will drop this hearing notice in the chat. It's available at https://hnl.e.hawaii.gov/hnl-doc/agenda/519. That completes my report in terms of the luau. I'd like to move on to a secondary report on the workforce housing project that also has been occurring. Can't live a day without water, folks, because that took a lot of water. I'm going to need this later. All right. In terms of the Mililani High School teacher workforce housing project, I'd like to report that if you recall in our last meeting on August 28th, concurrently reported and subsequently announced a developer picked up for educator housing at Mililani High School, which surprised this own board. Board member Sabrina Gustafson directed initial questions to the offices of Senator Kidani and Dela Cruz. Over the 1 month period between both board meetings, I've heard from multiple members of our board as well as residents of our community who've expressed concerns regarding the location of the project and project proposal as well as other concerns. I did contact Mililani High School Principal Fred Murphy and Senator Michelle Kidani, as well as representing the concerns expressed by the over 24 Mililani residents who shared their informal concerns. Mililani High School Principal Fred Murphy provided me with the contact information of the project manager for the School Facilities Authority. Mr. Brian Canevari, whom I initially spoke with on September 18th last week. He encourages members of the Mililani community to visit the project's website at https://www.hisfa.org/workforce-housing/. He requests that all inquiries related to the workforce housing pilot project at Mililani High School should be directed to Brian Canevari, Canevari, project manager at Hawaii School Facilities Authority. You can contact Brian at Brian, BRIAN .Canevari, CANEVARI @hisfa.org. You may also sign up on the HISFA website, https://www.hisfa.org/mailing-list/ for workforce housing updates and newsletters. Let's see. Finally, I've extended and the School Facilities Authority accepted. There will be an initial presentation to our Mililani Neighborhood Board at our next upcoming meeting in October on October 23rd by the School Facilities Authority. So it's been a busy month for this board and in our community, and that completes my report. I had to write it down. It's been busy. Okay, are there any questions to that? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Question, Leslie.
This is about the hula show. Some new concerns came up. You probably already know. At last month's meeting, I spoke with I guess his name is Curie. He told me that eventually they plan on coming to the board to get a vote here. So I don't know. I was talking with the chair earlier tonight, and I realize we're just an advisory board, but it's important for all the board members to understand what's taking place. I mean, regardless of a contract between the guy and the people, laws are being broken on the agriculture land. Now, DPP can move forward. However, tomorrow's the hearing. I already entered my testimony. You guys might want to do that tonight. But it's important to see all the violations here. We got septic tank. We have an illegal stage. We got illegal staircase, illegal sidewalks.
Leslie, is this a question directed to me?
No. I just want everybody to understand to get the information and study. Hula Troop comes back to have the board vote on it. So it's important for the board members
Remember,
to understand the violation.
Directed to me in my report.
Okay, that was your report right earlier, the Clonia Hula show, right?
That was my report.
Yeah.
So it's
So
a question directed.
I'm not finishing. So it's important for all the board members to study and look at all the violations that are being made. There's one very important one that I found, and I was talking to the chair about earlier tonight before the board meeting. The fire dancing going on at the property. There is no fire hydrants on Clonia Road. No fire hydrants. That golf course only has a well. It takes a half an hour to pump the water out of the ground. If there's any fire, like the Lahaina fires or anything, now that fire paranoia is in Hawaii, it's a very dangerous situation that could happen. You're supposed to get a permit for a fire pit or a fire show. So I want the board members to know that and study the rest of the violations. That's all I ask before the Hula Troop comes back for a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Members, are there any questions related to my report? Any questions? I'm going to be putting that in the chat when when this is moved on, we move on to the other report. Okay, we're going to move on to other.
Quick question.
Yes, Emil.
Quick question about, so the action item is supposed to be the consideration to include it on October 24 agenda. So is that going to be on October 24 agenda or not?
It's a consideration. The board will be voting on that. This is a vote. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, members? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we're going to move on to Alex Ozawa, Community Partnerships and Community Outreach.
No report, Chair.
Okay, moving on to Josie for Community Recognition and Service Reports or Awards.
No report, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Martina for Community Walk Audit.
Hi, I'm going to be updating the Google form to include a option that includes photos so people can attach those photos of their area of concern. For example, if it's a sidewalk with a route, they can attach that photo.
Okay. Does that complete your report?
Yes.
Thank you. Trevor for Planning, Zoning, Sustainable Development, and Climate Resilience.
No report this month.
All right, Skylar for Transportation and OMPO.
So at the last CAC meeting, or the OMPO meeting, there was a new plan that City and County of Honolulu is going to be pushing out. It's called the Oahu Vision Zero Plan. So they're looking at areas around schools, malls, things like that, where kids are going to be crossing streets or lots of individuals are crossing street. Their goal is to reduce traffic-related deaths and serious injuries to zero across the entire island of Oahu. They have a lot of current tracking that they have, and they're going to be increasing their responses. So you'll see a lot more of the crosswalks that are raised to involve vehicles going slower, more lights, more things that they're going to be trying to install. So if you want, I did post a presentation, and then they're also going to try to include more walking and bike lanes across the entire island of Hawaii. And then there was a proposal to adopt a city ordinance to change the speed limits to 20 miles an hour on all local streets and in school zones. I don't know how that's going, so we'll have to talk to the city council members to see whether or not that passed or not. And then lastly, they're going to be talking about an educational framework for the youth engagement in Oahu's transportation planning. What it is it's a Federal Transit Authority is giving the city and county money to allow them to reach out to schools, to get teachers, to get kids involved in city planning when it comes to transportation. It's a pilot program started by the University of Hawaii, and they are reaching out to multiple schools through multiple teachers to get the children information on it. If you would like, if you know children who are interested in doing it or anything else like that, there is, once again, a link on top of the Google Drive where I posted all the information. Other than that, I'm done with my report.
Okay, thank you. Dennis for Military Affairs and Emergency Management.
No report.
Okay, Darsha for Health, Houselessness, and Human Services.
No report. Thank you, Chair.
All righty. Sabrina for Parks and Rec, as well as Patsy T. Ming Central Oahu Regional Park.
The lights are up at the Mililani District Skate Park. They were on last Friday. I don't know if they're going to be on regularly, if somebody has to turn them on. They were not on tonight when I drove by, but they should be working. So if anybody has problems, any of the skate people do have problems with their operation, please contact me and I will look into it because they should be fully operational, fully working. End of report.
Great news. We got lights at the skate park. Okay, and last but not least, Maryland for Education.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll try not to be too long here. Received a report from Mililani High School, and as you know, September 14th to 21st was homecoming week, and it was showing Mililani pride, and they had many festivities, as you know, parade, spirit week, pep rally, service projects, game, and halftime show. But they would like to thank the community support and participation from the city and state leaders and alumni, family, and friends. So if you were one of the helpers, thank you very much. This Saturday, the high school is hosting the Hawaii State Student Council meeting for each designated school representative across the state. And if you're interested, and knowing what they do have a website, www.hawaiistate.stuco.com. There will be a Fall Pops concert on October 3rd in Mililani Gym, and all are invited to that. There is a fall break from October 7th to 11th, so there won't be anybody here at the school. Unity Day is October 16th, and all are invited to wear orange in support of inclusion, kindness, and acceptance. I don't know whether that's the official color for these things, but I'm going to research that. And PSAT Day is October 24th for test takers only. There is a MHS app, and you can search that to find out things that are going on in the school. And there's also an app store or Google Play Store, and you can get notifications and school updates and calendar. Then at Kipapa School in October, they're going to have a thank you breakfast for community partners. So if you are a community partner, you are invited to come. And then even though Mililani-Waipiʻo is not in our district, we should congratulate them for being awarded the Blue Ribbon School designation, and they will be going to Washington, D.C. to compete with 300 others. And that is my report.
Thank you. Congratulations to Mililani-Waipiʻo for Blue Ribbon recognition. That's great. That is. Okay, we're going to get back on track in our agenda. Members of the elected official reports, thank you for your patience. Going into elected official reports, I see that Nestor is online for Congressman Case's office. Welcome, Nestor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. The Congressman's third quarter neighborhood board report has been placed in the chat. I want to go over it real quick though, Madam Chair, if I could. A community funding project, if you ever get around to settling the fiscal year 2025 budget, I'll get to that later. But a proposal in the proposed fiscal year 2025 budget is a project that will have the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency develop a community disaster preparedness information platform for the state of Hawaii. I say that because of what's happening now with Florida and the hurricane that's coming. So this information platform will enable the state, namely Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, to share information with interested parties, nonprofits, neighborhood boards even, I guess, if they want to know what's going on, especially before a disaster. Yeah. So everybody gets timely and unified messaging when we're faced with a crisis like that. So hopefully when Congress gets around to it and the president signs the new fiscal year 2025 budget, this proposal will be included in that for next year. Going back to the budget. So as you know, the federal fiscal year is supposed to start on October 1st, but we never got around to settling both the House and the Senate on the fiscal year 2025 budget. So the House and the Senate today passed what's called a continuing resolution. So the government will not shut down at the end of this month. We're going to be put on hold until December 20th, and then we decide what happens on that date going forward. Anyway, going back to the report, there's mention of the National Defense Authorization Act. Every year, Congress has to pass this measure, which is the annual authority for and direction to our U.S. military and other critical defense efforts. Now, the controversial aspect of this NDAA is the provision that proposes to have every male citizen of the United States and every other male person residing in the United States between the ages of 18 and 26 shall be automatically registered with the Selective Service, which is sometimes confused with the draft. We're not bringing back the draft. All that the House is proposing, that male citizens within that age group be automatically registered in the Selective Service. There are a lot of young men who don't realize that they have to register for the Selective Service. About 14% of men actually don't realize that they have to do that. So to help them, this proposal will automatically register males into the Selective Service. We're not bringing back the draft, just to be clear. We haven't had the draft since 1973. The Senate version calls for women to be automatically registered in the Selective Service. That's the Senate version. That has yet to be actually debated in the Senate. It was just introduced. So they haven't actually acted on it yet. The House has passed its version already. So we'll see how that shakes out in the end. And then one last thing from the report, Madam Chair, is a reminder for those young men and women who are interested in speaking in the military to be appointed to one of 4 of the military service academies: Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Merchant Marine, actually. The Coast Guard does not accept nominations from Congress. The deadline to register with our office or to apply with our office is October 11th. Close of business October 11th. There were actually 2 students from Mililani that actually applied the last time we had accepted applications for the service academies. So just wanted to make a reminder out there. And Madam Chair, one last thing. I noticed in the discussion earlier that there was talk about helicopters, helicopter noise, helicopter disruption. There was a 2-day conference that I attended at the convention center, put on by what's called the Vertical Aviation International, that's the largest organization that deals with vertical takeoff and landing aircraft and notably helicopters. So they were talking about safety. This was the first ever safety conference nationwide that deals with helicopters. And the reason why they were actually pushing safety is that by May 28, 2027, they must declare to the FAA that they have a safety management system program adopted for their company. So this is an issue that's been dear to the heart of Congressman Case. And so that's why I had to attend the conference to see if these people were taking safety seriously. And I like to think they are. So this conference put people together. More than 100 people attended this conference so they can share ideas about to adopt a safety management system program by that date. Hey, Madam Chair, I need to take any questions from the board.
Thank you, Nestor. I see Anne has her hand up, so go ahead, Anne.
First thing, I couldn't find the unmute with this new update. I hate updates, by the way. My name is Ann Fried and I'm a member of this board. And good to see you, Nestor. So I'm going to go on record as supporting the Senate version as a vet. And, you know, the idea that we understand it's not a draft, but as you are aware, the volunteer army, unfortunately, there's a lot of citizens of our country that do not have skin in the game. And to me, the Senate version, just this idea of registration, which many countries have, like Switzerland or Israel, have full participation of all their citizens are expected to serve in some capacity, you know, that I favor that, whether or not it's, you know, it doesn't have to be a combat role. It could be, you know, cleaning up the forests or any of those kinds of things, which I know it's not going to pass, but I just need to go on record as saying that, you know, we need to have citizens understand what it is their volunteer army is putting on the line for them. You know, people are very good at saying, well, we support our military. Really? Put your money where your mouth is. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
And you'll be happy to know that Congressman Case likes the Senate version. Approves of females being registered automatically in the Selective Service.
Yes, we're full citizens, not 2/3 or half.
Okay.
Any other questions for Congressman Case's office members? Emil.
This is different question. Jones Act, again, I don't see any movement in favor of Hawaii. So we are still kind of held hostage by that 105 years old law. but I found something in United States Constitution. It's the port preference clause in Article 1, Section 9, which explicitly states, no preference shall be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another, meaning ports of mainland against ports of Hawaii. When the Jones Act 1920, there was no Hawaii as a member of the United States, including Alaska. They came 1959. So would it be possible maybe if Congressman could advise, do we have to sue or do we have, can we help, can he help us with bringing this unconstitutionality of the Jones Act up and maybe, pass it within the Congress?
Yes,
That's
board
all.
member, I thought I saw reference to that in an article citing that very constitutional clause as you referred to. Congressman, as you know, has been another one of his projects that's very dear to his heart. He's been sort of alone in this fight to reform the Jones Act. But yeah, we're going to avail ourselves of any and all tools that we can use to convince his colleagues who have yet to have a hearing on this measure. Well, we're not going to quit yet. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up again. And he's aware of that constitutional provision, and we'll see what we can use that to convince our colleagues in the House. Thank you.
Any other members have questions for Congressman Case's office? Any members of the public questions for Congressman Case's office? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much, Nestor, for being here tonight online.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to Tony, Governor's representative. Welcome.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, everyone. I just have a quick update. I wanted a job fair that was held by the Department of Human Resources and Development. Although it was already held, most of the jobs in the state that were mentioned at this job fair are still in continuous recruitment. And most of the jobs they're looking for have a health or social service type of background. So they are looking for support for registered nurses, social workers, human service professionals, and social service aides and assistants. These are all state jobs, by the way, to fill a lot of vacancies. The 4 classes of workers are predominantly needed to assist Hawaii residents through various professional and support services at the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, the Department of Health, Department of Human Services, and Leeward Community College Human Resource Offices. So if you are interested in applying, you can go to jobs.hawaii.gov/careers and check out some of the continuous recruitment that's going on for all of these jobs, and see if you're qualified. And you can also stay informed of further recruitment efforts and upcoming job fairs by following DHERD on their social media, Department of Human Resources Development. And you can also visit, it's a weird link here, but it's linktree/Hawaii DHERD. So it's linktr.ee/Hawaii DHRD. With that, that's really the only update I have at this time.
Thank you, Tony. Members, any questions for the governor's representative? Emil.
Thank you. I just want to ask about, we are discussing this illegality of the luau maybe, and the ethics commission is brought up as possible, doing nothing. I noticed that the ethics commission has already more than 6 months, 1 vacancy. So there are only 4 people instead of 5. And I wonder if governor can do something about it. He's the one appointing one of 2 which are suggested by the Judicial Council. But if the Judicial Council didn't recommend anybody, can he at least ask for Judicial Council to recommend somebody, or you don't have any applications? I mean, what's the situation? How come we have a vacancy in such an important commission, which could actually commercial luau to the end very quickly? So thank you.
Any other questions for governor's representative members? Anne, go ahead.
It's me again. I'll keep it short. So I've noticed that the governor, being a healthcare professional himself, you know, it has, I would say, a great knowledge and understanding. So I noticed that in last year that there was a $30 million loan repayment plan in place. I was wondering how's that's going in terms of getting more recruits for this vital industry. And just as an aside, I just need to tell folks that, you know, I keep hearing this thing is people don't want to work. In meeting with one of the labor chairs, there is a labor shortage. There's a labor shortage because all of us baby boomers are retiring, and there's more of us than there is of any other generation. What that means is there's not enough people to fill the slots being vacated by retirees like me. So if there's a labor shortage in every industry, and in this critical industry, that's why. So any incentive, and I agree with any incentive that we can have to get healthcare professionals to start coming to Hawaii and staying here. So anyway, that's my question for you, honey. How's that working?
$30 million loan repayment?
Yeah.
How it's going?
How is that working?
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Any final questions for the governor's rep? Yes, Skylar.
The H1, H2 off ramp that goes down to the Pearl City where the two towers are, the off ramp that's still closed off. Yeah. Are we projected to open that at any time, or is there something that's holding it up from actually being opened?
Okay.
Right. Any final questions for Governor's rep? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you, Tony. All right, next up, Tracy Kubota, the mayor's rep. Welcome, Tracy. Come on down.
Oh, poor girl.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Let's see now. Okay, so I'll start with the first question that I received from last month. I just want to make sure that, Tracy Kubota, Mayor Wickland Charities representative. Part of mayors for the month is on the table if you have not received a copy. I'm just gonna let you folks read because the highlights are a little long, and I'll just get to business here because we've got a few things to talk about. So the first question we received last month was about any safeguards being implemented to prevent future corruption with respect to some bribery in the city DPP. And the response from DPP was yes. Understanding that there have been serious issues of corruption at DPP with federal indictments, this administration has worked hard at identifying the causes and solutions to prevent further corruption. The causes have been a lack of standard operating procedures, oversight, and accountability that can weed out improper and questionable practice. As DPP continues to improve its processes, people, and technology, we are implementing systems that will provide clear procedures, documentation, and automation to ensure above-board practices. Additionally, the administration has been and will continue to be diligent in conducting internal investigations upon suspected improper practices. So that's for that first question. Second question, I'm going to read the question because this is in follow-up to a prior question on the Hawaii Country Club. And so the question that was repeated is, in 2022, HCC expended over $30,000 to install underground electrical conduit without a permit to specifically serve the outdoor luau. The city wanted the luau to cease and get into compliance. All DPP has to do is enforce ROH 17-1.1 that allows for the electrical system ordered inoperable until a permit is executed. Per ROH 17-1.1, the electrical system built not to code and not inspected and without a permit cannot be operable. Yet DPP won't apply this mandate upon HCC. With the luau revenue over $100,000 per show, 5 nights a week, the luau operators have expressed they can easily pay the $1,000 fine and therefore will not cease and continue to violate HRS 205-4.5. Why hasn't DPP followed the law and ordered the electricity inoperable, which would put the luau in the dark and end it? why is DPP not enforcing Electrical Code 17-1.1 on the luau? So DPP's response is that the question that is being posed is not, what the statement that was stated about not enforcing is not correct. DPP has followed the law, although the code appears to state that DPP can simply walk into private property and sever an electrical connection. There are constitutional and tort concerns relating to the physical interferences with private property. The city could be liable for property damage, damages caused by severance, as well as consequential damages for severing power, and incidental Fourth Amendment violations. For these reasons, DPP would need a court order approving those actions before relying on the power unless there are clear and imminent safety threats. So that's their response on that for the follow-up. I will continue to go with the next question since we're on this matter. Hold on, let me turn the page because there's other stuff in between. Hold on. So for the most recent questions that were provided to us and Chair Bass in recent emails, we added it to the list. So first question with respect to the same issue, on what date did DPP comply to HRS 205-12 and notify the Land Use Commission of the luau, claiming that the luau violates HRS 205-4.5 and city is required to notify LUC of all violations to this statute. DPP's response is that pursuant to HRS 205-12, DPP officially notified the LUC of the luau violations on September 18, 2024. DPP and LUC have communicated previously on the issues such that the LUC has been aware of the situation for some time. Next question continues, on what date did DPP comply to HRS 205-8 and enforce with penalty per HRS 205-13, calling for the property owner to remove the structures and buildings that expend the non-conforming end use on the property? So this is relating to the cement stage, cement staircases, cement sidewalls, wooden shed, 5 shipping containers, tarp tents with cement flooring, all cited on December 7th, 2023 for not having permits. They cannot get permits because these items expand the floor area, violating HRS 205-8, and therefore must be ordered removed per the law. Furthermore, Hawaii Prince Golf Course had to remove the welding trellis in 2019 for conditions by DPP. The trellis violated HRS 205-8. A permit could not be solicited for was ordered removed. Yet DPP is soliciting Hawaii Country Club obtain permits for the non-conforming structures that serve another non-conforming end use in the state ag district. This is also not allowed per HRS 205-8. Again, on what date was the owner asked to remove the non-conforming features? Stop avoiding, please. DPP responded that they have issued over a dozen notice of violations to the luau property owner for the illegal structures in use, including one dating back to September 2023, all of which stated in pertinent part, you're ordered to obtain permits and or correct violation by specific dates mentioned. Essentially, by this language, the NOV requires the luau to remove the structure or correct the illegal structure via permitting or other applicable approvals, which the equivalent of calling for the property owner to remove the structures and building. Let me see. Now, this leads to question number 3. So on what date did DPP comply to Electrical Code 17-1.1 that requires the property owner to not operate the electrical system, construct without the permit, not to code, and not inspected, and order the property owner not to use the electrical underground conduit? Response was the electrical violations are subsumed under the NOVs, citing the work construction without a permit, and similarly, these NOVs state the same, to either correct the violation by removal or proper permitting approvals. So this is the response provided to those 3 additional questions. Moving on to one of the questions relating to Mililani-Waipiʻo Park maintenance. 2 items that need to be addressed at Mililani-Waipiʻo Park. 1, there is a large branch that needs to be hauled away. And 2, there's a large deep hole by the bathroom breezeway that needs to be filled in. People are starting to stuff things and making it very dangerous for people walking. Response. Mahalo for, this is from Department of Mahalo for reporting the 2 issues at Mililani-Waipiʻo Park. Staff removed the large branches and filled in the hole near the bathroom breezeway. So those are results. And the last question from the last meeting was directed to Department of Information Technology regarding the 311 app presentation. Can someone attend the neighborhood board meeting tonight at Mililani High School and do a presentation? Also, please provide an update on the following issues. So I have a response saying they apologize that they were unable to make the meeting. However, a new 311 app will launch at the end of this year, and they can refer to this site on using the app, which is www.honolulucitycouncil.org/report-city-issue. And with respect to one of the 311 report follow-ups regarding the block street light on Kohelani Avenue and Hokuleva Loop. The Department of Urban Forestry investigated and found the tree that is located on this private property, is located on private property, and therefore maintenance is the responsibility of the private property owner. This should be referred to DPP. So DFM is going to resign and DPP will reassign the request to them as it is property, private property. Okay, I think that's it. It's not quite as long as
Everybody
yours,
get off.
but yeah, I got it all in.
You need
And
some
I'll
water.
take back any questions for next month.
Members, any questions for the City and County of Honolulu Mayor's Rep? Questions? Leslie. Sabrina.
So clarification, as they're launching this new 311 app at the end of this year, don't use the 311 app that exists now. Is that what you're saying?
Let me see. I don't think it's saying that quite yet. They're saying that right now, you still will receive an email should you use the 311 app, but they're going to be transferring to a new app launch.
Okay.
So I can get clarification on that for you, but it doesn't say to discontinue this current use.
Okay, any further questions for City and County Mayor's Rep? Questions? Members, yes, Leslie.
Tracy, can you take back a question about the fire pit and the fire dancing that I was mentioning earlier tonight?
About no fire hydrants, right?
No, about the fire dancing that's going on with the hula show and the permit. They need permits to be doing this, as far as I know. And there's not enough fire hydrants on Kunia Road. And another thing is the
Wait,
transit.
hold on, just
Yeah.
let me write it down. Okay, so fire dancing permit, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and then the second part was not enough hydrants on Kunia Road,
yeah.
or
to
no
address-
hydrants.
yeah.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I just want to be sure. Is it no
there-
hydrants or not enough hydrants?
No hydrants on Kunia Road at all. That's what makes that whole place dangerous. It usually catches fire a lot.
Okay, got it.
And the bus thing, I heard recently that the transit buses that are turning into the property, there's not enough lighting, and the road, Kunia Road is so small that these giant buses from Honolulu coming in with the tourists, when they make the turn into the property, they're actually blocking the other lane, and it's a dark situation going on at night,
So let me be clear.
presenting a danger sort of.
Off the main road, right? They're turning and the lighting is not sufficient on the main road or in the property.
On the main road, and even on the property too, there's not enough lighting in the parking lot. But another thing too is there needs to be a roadway built for that buses to turn in, because the road is too small. It's too sharp of a turn, like a very small little thing.
So-
But they'll probably figure that out on their own. But I mean,
Okay, so but just for the city related stuff, I'm just gonna look at the
Yeah.
lighting on Kunia Road.
yeah.
Okay, got
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for
Further
that.
questions for City Mayor's Rep? Any further questions from the board? Online? Any members of the audience who'd like to direct a question to the City and County Mayor's Rep? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, thank
Tracy. Okay, next up, we got Jamie from Councilmember Val Okimoto's office. Welcome, Jamie.
Hi, good evening, Chair, members of the board. Jamie Shid, Councilmember Val Okimoto's office. Council is wrapping up its committee week. Been a very busy week. As Member Ross had mentioned, there is that Bill 44 for speed limits. Councilmember Okimoto does have reservations about that. We can lower speed limits. We have speed limits now, but people are still speeding. So just slow down and enjoy the Congratulations once again. City Council honored the Mililani High School girls softball team at the full council meeting. They were our state champions. Also on September 4th, the council passed resolution 24199, urging the state legislature to enact some meaningful e-bike laws. We're preempted a lot in the state traffic code on implementing new laws to regulate e-bikes. This is a companion resolution to a bill introduced by council members, colleagues, Bill 52. That was heard in anticipate passage at the end of the year. More clear details in that, specifics to the legislature, what the ask is and what exactly they want them to do. Mayor is forming a working group and those meetings will be public. There was a follow-up request concerning Mililani-Waipiʻo Neighborhood Park. As of September 12th, this project is still being reviewed by the Department of Design and Construction. This is the covering for the inline skating rink. Also as a follow-up, mahalo to Parks, Department of Parks and Recreation, the Mililani District Park skate park lights are still on track for full operation on October 1st of this year. Pending any questions, I'll stand on the written report.
Mahalo, Jamie. Members, are there any questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office?
Thank you.
Oh, wait, you're not done. Are there any members of the public who have questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office? Give everybody a fair shake. All right, seeing and hearing none. Yes, Trevor, you have a question?
So regarding the earlier discussion about trying to set up a police substation in Mililani, would it be possible for the council member to look into if there's anything that the council can do to try and get that moving, like whether it's setting up a line item in the budget to lease property from somewhere in Mililani or something to that effect?
We can do a dual ask. The customer services department is looking into a satellite city hall, the possibility of a satellite city hall option in Mililani. We can ask, but it's not a priority of the administration and of the police department. They have a limited CIP budget. They're looking long term of, for example, replacing the Pro City police station. But I mean, we can certainly ask, and then they can look into it. We're not going to make any promises because there's just, the department has priorities, but we can ask, absolutely.
Just in follow-up to that, would you please reference our reso that we passed last year?
Absolutely.
Thanks. Any other questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office? Seeing and hearing none, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Okay, I see that Kelly Anaya is available online representing Councilmember Wyer's office. Welcome, Kelly.
Chair, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wyer's office. Just a couple of things. Just wanted to highlight that Councilmember was honored to join Mayor Blangiardi, some of his council colleagues, and some of the first responders earlier this month for the mayor's 9/11 Remembrance Walk, and honoring those who first responders and those who lost their lives. Also, I wanted to highlight Bill 46 that was heard today in Council Members Committee on Housing, Sustainability, and Health. This initiative would impose a tax on homes that are vacant for more than 6 months out of the year. It would hope to discourage real estate speculation, land banking, while trying to encourage the use of vacant properties to address Oahu's housing needs. This bill has passed out of today's committee. And one last update, Mililani Park. I know probably like during Councilmember Studio's time, I reported about the lights that were out. Apparently the light fixtures need to be replaced. And so that project is currently in review. That's all the updates I have for tonight. If anyone has any questions for Councilmember, I can take them back.
Mahalo, Kelly. Members, are there any questions for Councilmember Wire's office? Members of the audience, any questions for Councilmember Wire's office? All right, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Mahalo. All right, Trevor Nagamine for Senator Michelle Kidani's office.
Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public, I'll try to keep this short tonight. So just to follow up from last month's meeting, Sabrina had a question regarding the teacher housing project that was announced for Mililani High School. And basically, Senator has heard your concerns. She shares your concerns with respect to the placement of the project and, the affordability of the proposed units. However, ultimately, control of the project is with the School Facilities Authority, and as Chair Bass has mentioned, SFA will be here at next month's meeting. So I'd be happy to take back any questions you may have for the senator, but I would also suggest that you also have questions ready for SFA when they're here. Okay. So other than that, does anyone have anything new for me to take back?
Members, any questions for Senator Kidani's office? Sabrina.
I did to save time, I did draft a bunch of questions that I had. It's just the basic initial questions. If you could give this to Kidani's office, and I will also forward it to the liaison that's coming next month in hopes that they can answer these questions as well at the meeting. But just encourage them to answer the questions next month as well.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions for Senator Kidani's office, members? Members of the audience, any questions for Senator Kidani's office? Seeing and hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on. I see that Malachi Burrows is here online, representing Senator Dela Cruz's office. Go ahead, Malachi. Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Chair, members. Wanted to touch on the Mililani Teacher Housing Project. So, like Trevor had pointed out, the executing agency is SFA. So, best to direct specific questions to SFA. I know, Chair, you had mentioned the contact info for the project manager, Brian, and it sounds like you have his email. But Senator De La Cruz is definitely, trying to push SFA and the developer that's been selected, which is Pacific Housing Assistance Corporation, to create an extensive and clear community engagement plan so that concerns that the community has can be incorporated into any negotiations or anything that's going to be up in the air for the project. The general parameters for the project, can change. Things are not set in stone yet. So we'll just have to wait and see what SFA and the developer, kind of come up with as far as what the general parameters are and what can be negotiated and what's open for community input. So Senator is, pushing for some clarity on that from SFA and the developer. There were some concerns about the affordability, the rents being charged. I did just want to mention that, those rent ranges, which are 60 to 110% AMI, so area median income. Those are based off of the HSTA collective bargaining contracts. So, they did look at the salaries that the teachers they're earning, and they tried to base the rents and the median income off of those those salaries. And then the details as far as the size of the building, again, those can change with negotiations between SFA and the developer. So things are still fluid. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on is there was a question about coconut rhinoceros beetle response and what the senator's working on or doing to address the issues with coconut rhinoceros beetles. As far as last session, the big milestone was that biosecurity bill that was passed, and that did include 1.2 million specifically for coconut rhinoceros beetle responses. So that was legislation that Senator De La Cruz did champion, and that was a big achievement, getting that chunk of money dedicated specifically for coconut rhinoceros beetle response. And then there is, if there's specific instances of infestations in the community that people want to contact the Department of Agriculture about, there is a hotline, and I can drop that hotline in the chat. If there's specific things that people need, DOA to address immediately. So I'll drop that in the chat. But if there's any questions, I can answer.
Thank you, Malachi. Members, are there any questions for Senator De La Cruz's office? Sabrina.
First, a point of clarification. You said that the affordable rent rates were based on a 60 to 110% AMI. That's incorrect. The best and final offer bases it on 120% AMI, not 60%. You are right that they said that they're open to negotiation. In the basic or the final, negotiate from 109 units to 143. They increase it based on further discussion with the SFA. I just want to clarify, you're saying that the senator's position on this matter is that we should take a wait and see approach, and that the community concerns shouldn't be addressed until after the SFA and the developer come to terms. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say that his approach is wait and see. It's not the senator's prerogative to determine what the negotiations are. He is a member of the steering committee and is part of a group that's trying to incorporate the input of those parties. But it is SFA and the developer who are going to have to come to terms on what the general parameters are and what is open for input from the community. So we do, in our office, and Senator De La Cruz is pushing SFA to be clear about what is open for interpretation by the community. So we're just trying to get SFA to let the community know, let the steering committee know, what's up for negotiation and what's set.
So can you let the senator know that one of the biggest contentions right now that I'm seeing with this project is the blatant disregard for the SFA proposal and what's going forth and what's actually being approved. So in the request for proposal, it says that Mililani High School is offering 3 locations, a primary site and 2 additional sites, and yet the best and final that was accepted by the SFA elects for a 4th site that wasn't even mentioned in the request for proposal. So the question becomes, why was this proposal even considered if it didn't address the concerns or the requirements put forth by the request for proposal? So you see how there's a little bit of a disconnect between what's being presented to the public, saying we're trying to be upfront, and then what's actually happening with SFA and their pretty much underhandedness in this issue. Can you just express that to the senator for me?
Absolutely. Yeah, we will definitely pass that on. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from board members to Senator De La Cruz's office? Catherine.
Can you ask the senator to inquire at the Hawaiian Electric, how do they select the streets or communities where they're going to shut off the power? Because on our street, they have shut down our power at times, and whereas I called up other people in the community that their power will shut off. Thank you.
Will do.
I see Anne has her hand.
Real quick, I just want to go on record as supporting Member Gustafson's comments and observations, and to carry to the Senator Dela Cruz and possibly Senator Hidani as well, that I'm sure they're well aware of this, that what is defined as affordable housing needs to be, the formula needs to be changed. It's based on median price. Median price is one of the highest in the country, and therefore we're going to wind up with the situation where developers just use that as a way around the intention of any bill that is called affordable housing. What they're proposing, what developers propose under affordable housing is not affordable, and certainly wouldn't be affordable by teachers. So that's on record.
Any further questions for Senator Dela Cruz's office at this time, members? All right, members of the audience. Yes, please, again, name for the record, director questions, Senator Dela Cruz's office.
Culture. Thank you for the rhinoceros beetle. That one, that's good. But I was wondering, does that go to any other invasive species? Like, are you guys working towards like other things, like with other districts within the state, or is it just concentrate on this that?
Yeah, so the biosecurity bill is not just focused on coconut rhinoceros beetles, but I just indicated that specific dollar amount that is going to coconut rhinoceros beetles because I knew that was a question that had been asked at the last meeting. But the biosecurity bill is it targets other invasive species issues and establishes positions within the DOA, Department of Agriculture, for biosecurity in general, not just coconut rhinoceros beetles.
Oh, cool. No, I heard there's a coconut frog problem too, and it's sucking
Yeah,
for you.
that's
Coconut trees, so thank
funding
you.
going towards that as well. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Malachi, for being here tonight. It looks like there's a lot of questions directed to Senator Dela Cruz for next month. All right. Next up, we have Rep. Amy Prusa, who's available online. Welcome, Representative.
Aloha. So end of September, we are, we'll know more about the organization of the House after the November election. But in the interim, there's still a lot of activity around addressing community issues. So the first is going to be a forum, the first in September is going to be a forum on land and affordable housing at Wahiawa Elementary. We're going to be examining the legislation that was passed this most recent session and then looking at possible implementation strategies by the county. So it'll be myself and Councilman Wire, and that's from 6 to 7:30, September 30th at Wahiawa Elementary. The second event that I wanted to mention is online. It's the second in a series, the budget on the state budget. So the first went really well. We're happy to have Governor Ige with us. The second will be on October 17th from 3:30 to 5 on Zoom. And if you take a look at either, we'll be sending out newsletters or you can look at our social media to get the link to register to attend. And that panel will consist of Calbert Young, the former Director of State Budget and Finance, Will White, and Devin Thomas from Appleseed. And again, we're encouraging folks to subscribe to our newsletter at reppruso.com, representativeamypruso.com, and to encourage folks to vote, whoever you're going to vote for.
All right. Thank you, Representative Peruso. Members, any questions for the representative? Members of the audience, any questions? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we got Representative Lauren Matsumoto, who is online. Thank you for participating.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to be with you all today. I apologize, I'm a bit under the weather, or I'd be there in person. I sent my newsletter over via email, so you should have that PDF with you. And so just quick updates again, like many people we were able to participate in the homecoming parade, had a great time with my kids building our float. We also were able to go to the homecoming game. I do want to let everybody know that there are some upcoming events as well. So we're going to be doing the trunk or treats coming in October. So October 18th at Mililani-Waipiʻo Elementary School, we'll be there with our full trunk or treat, as well as at the YMCA on October 26th from 4:30 to 7:30. So great community events to have the whole family come out. I did want to we got an update that the little fire ant is popping up again in Mililani, and it's mostly in the Mililani-Mauka area, but something to be aware of around your house. And I also wanted to let everybody know I've been still getting a lot of calls about the condo insurance issue. So again, if you go to repmatsumoto.com, there's a pop-up that immediately comes up. Anytime we get updates from the governor's office, from the task force, we are putting it on our website. So there's like a one-stop shop. If you have condo insurance questions, I've attended many meetings over the course of the last few weeks with different associations in Mililani who are facing this issue. So if this is something that you're going through, please go to repmatsumoto.com and sign up. And also please sign up for our newsletter. That's how we send a newsletter out every other week during the interim. And that's how we get information out when we need to get it out quickly. All of that's available on repmatsumoto.com. And that is my report for this evening.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Representative Matsumoto? Schuyler?
Bringing up the condo thing, is the legislature, or are you looking at putting in any legislature that would help with struggling families to what we can do, especially for our seniors who are on already a limited basis on how much income they're already making through Social Security, Medicare, whatever it could be? Are you guys planning on putting on something together, or moving ahead, or looking into the next upcoming session?
Mm-hmm. So our office has worked with our research team, and they've put together several proposals. I can send that forward if you guys want to see it, some of the ideas that they've had. The governor's task force is also working on those things. Unfortunately, they are setting up they're putting an office together in aid, but it's going to take a while to get that together. I think this is one of the biggest misses that we had in the legislative session. We knew it was coming. We didn't get it passed in conference, and now, I mean, people are facing 300% increases on their insurance, $4,000 assessments that they're having to pay, and it's not good. And I was asking if we could have gone to special session this summer. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But there's definitely a lot of legislation that we're looking at putting together for the next session. And hopefully the governor's task force can push through some stop gaps in the meantime. I don't know how long it's going to take to set up that office.
Any other questions for Representative Matsumoto members? All right, seeing and hearing none, go get some water. Thank you, Representative Matsumoto.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, next up we have Erin Conway from Representative LaChica's office online. Welcome, Erin.
Aloha, Chair, members of the board. Thank you for your time. I'm Erin Conway, and here on behalf of Representative LaChica. She apologizes for not being able to attend in person. She was attending a downtown event hosted by UA Chilo. I'll keep my report pretty short tonight. As previously mentioned, our office also worked with HDOT, who informed us September 10th that the trash piling up on near Kipapa Gulch Gate was cleaned up. We were very happy to hear this. We also partnered with HPD for a graffiti cleanup, Waipiʻo Gentry, on September 14th. following our Mililani homecoming parade. That was a lot of fun. It was great to see everybody out. A school bus update. We heard today that all 9 bus routes have been officially restored to the middle school, but we're not too sure. They don't sound like they're up to 100%. So we are hoping that those can be picking up all the students shortly. In the next week or so to come, they can smooth all the fixes out. We've also been working closely with DOE and contractors to prioritize the school bus services for the future, and we plan to work on legislation for this. We also want to remind the community about the white Polynesian tour buses you see around Mililani. They're carrying students and they don't have special markings on them. The DOE is unable to adjust these markings right now because they're going to be temporary vehicles, but just please watch out for the students and be mindful. Lastly, as mentioned, the teacher workforce housing project. I know Chair Bass discussed this earlier. We wanted to emphasize we're very excited to support this project and hear more at next month's meeting. We know that the project's still in its early phases, but we want to be able to assure the community we're going to work hard and make sure the community is given an adequate opportunity for feedback, which I know the board has discussed a lot tonight, and that's very meaningful. Lastly, next month is Filipino American History Month, and we're going to have a bunch of events to celebrate, and those can be found on filipinohistorymonth.com. I also heard somebody discussing their issues with HECO power outages. I've been sending people to calling the 855-304-1212 number. That's the Oahu number. This has been really helpful. Yep, thank you for hearing me, Chair and members of the board. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to share them with the representative and get back.
Thank you, Erin. Members, are there any questions for Representative LaChica's office? Emil.
Just, can you please repeat the last, the phone number for the?
Yes, no problem. It's going to be 855-304-1212. And then if you live in Representative LaChica's district, if you're having any issues with this, please feel free to reach out to our Capitol office, and we're happy to assist.
Any other members, questions for Representative LaChica's office? All right, any members of the audience, questions for Representative LaChica? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you.
All right, we're making good time. It's 9:37. We're going to go to our last action item before announcements. Board business, approval of meeting minutes. I recognize the board secretary. Go ahead.
Minutes were sent out with the agenda. I noticed when I was putting these minutes together last time that there was an issue that was talked about in the chat that I wanted to add, and I could not find the chat because once the meeting closes, the chat transcript is deleted. So unless there's any objections, I would like to, at the end of the meeting, just copy the chat transcript from the WebEx and put it in a Word document as it is and save it as a PDF and attach it to our Google Drive, unless there's any objections. It's not going to be part of the minutes, but there will be a firm record of what goes on in the chat if it's public, not private chats. I'm not going to download those, but the public chats. And it will be saved in the Google Drive for the month of the meeting.
Any objections, members? NCO? All right, if you want to do it, go ahead.
Thank you.
So there's a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the August meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, Rachel, you wanted to go take care of the vote in like last month?
Okay. So for last month's minutes, I did, double check with everybody about their votes, right? Is there anybody that wants to make any amendments to that part, in case I missed you?
I want to change something from the minutes. There is a typo. So, the State Senate District 17 should be for Senator de Normal. So,
Okay, so we'll notate that.
page 5 of 6, section 10, elected official reports. And it's the 1, 2, 3, third report.
You got it. Okay. Okay. Any other amendments? No? Okay. Is it okay if I have the secretary change the motion to adding the update to that and then approving that?
Okay, so I'd like to amend the motion to be move to approve the August meeting minutes as corrected.
Second.
Okay, and then I'll take the vote. All in favor, say aye. Any
Aye.
those opposed, say nay. And then any abstention. Okay, the minutes be approved by the board and once it's adjusted. Thank you.
Okay, and on to the action item related to the chair's report I provided. Consideration to include on the October 2024 agenda a presentation related to the Hawaii Country Club's luau in Kunia. So NCO, I was just advised that this is just a board vote at this point in terms of consideration. So shall the board consider this agenda item placement?
Yes, so this item was more like just for the board to vote to decide whether they want to have this item onto the next meeting agenda.
Right, okay, so question, go ahead.
Okay. When I read it, I wanted to know who was going to give the briefing. You mentioned it, that it's your department of planning and permitting, but that isn't in here. Can we add?
Okay, we can.
Okay.
Okay, so what we could ask is, shall the board consider on the shall the board include on October 2024 agenda a presentation related to the Hawaii Country Club's luau in Kunia by DPP? Yeah? Okay, by DPP. All right, so that's going to be the motion to vote on this matter. Does this board want on the October 2024 agenda a presentation related to the Hawaii Country Club's luau in Kunia by DPP? That is the motion. Second. Seconded by member Smart. Let's keep discussion pretty quick. Any discussion? Leslie.
Hearing. Tomorrow's the hearing at City Hall, so I think, yeah, we should move this forward so we can get a little bit more information. I'm hearing that there's going to be some people from the hula show there, and I already submitted my testimony, and you guys can go submit tonight if you want. But it's going to have the meeting tomorrow, so we're going to find out some other things that we don't know right now. So we're going to have to follow up with this. Eventually, the hula show is going to come to us for a vote, from what I heard from Curie. So anyway, I just want to tell the members that. Thank you.
Thank you. Other discussion, members? Seeing and hearing none. We'll go ahead and take it to the vote. Rachel?
I'm gonna do a roll call vote for this one, but just want to double check. Who did the motion?
I did.
You did. Okay.
And it was seconded by
Smart, right?
Smart. And the addition is the presentation would be made by the DPP.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll start off with Rana. Yes. Okay. Among. Yes. Ramadi. No. Okay. Dal. Yes. Flores. Free.
No.
Kastapin. Kanehe.
Yes.
And Ka Panaaki. Kim. Yes. Kupuka'a. Yes. Tasha Lee.
Yes.
Marilyn Lee. No. Okay. Nagamine.
No.
Ozawa, Park,
Yes.
yes. Ross, abstain. Okay. Segura, okay. Then Smart,
Yes.
yes. Swarashina,
Yes.
Trotter, Williams,
Yes.
yes. And Bass.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, let me count this out. So I have 11 yes, 7 no, and 2 abstentions. Oh, okay. I gotta check. It's not resolution. Oh, okay. So since it's not a resolution, this will be on the agenda.
Okay. On the October 2024 agenda, a presentation related to the Hawaii Country Club's luau in Kunia is requested to be made by the DPP. Thank you, members. With that, we're going to go into announcements. So by the way, it sounds like October is going to be a long one. We're going to go into announcements. Next board meeting to be held Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. 7:30 Mililani High School H building, and broadcast will be here on Alelo, Focus 49 every second Thursday at 9 a.m. on Lelo, Views 54 every first and third Saturday at 9 a.m. I see 2 hands raised. Sabrina, Marilyn. Go ahead, Sabrina.
I have a question about our act. This is saying the board is requesting that they be on the agenda, but DPP can still say, no, we're not going to attend, or we're too busy, correct?
Yes, we're requesting
We're
that
just
it be placed
requesting that they be placed on the
on,
agenda.
yes, so
But placing them doesn't
we-
mean it's a confirmed presentation.
so we will ask, right? We're asking.
We're asking only.
Putting it on, right?
They may or may not present. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I just want
Great.
to make sure.
Thank you. Marilyn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This doesn't have anything to do with the, the subject matter, but I just want to remind everybody that it's important this year to get your flu shot and to get your COVID, the new COVID shot. I know some of you may not agree with these kinds of things, but we don't want to have a lot of absences in school or here. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Without any further announcements, we are adjourned.